Hi, you guys. Welcome back. It's Amy Gretchen. In the spirit of the holidays, I wanted to share with you how I'm going to be packaging up my gifts this year. I'm going to be adding this cute little pom-pom, and that's something that I wanted to share with you today how to make it. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is grab your yarn. You could absolutely use any yarn for this, any size, any color. I don't think you need to stick to the Christmas colors. I think it's a lot of fun to pick pinks and yellows and blues, just whatever you have on hand, let's just grab that. And then the next thing we need is a really great pair of scissors. And you want these to be really sharp because you're going to be cutting through this yarn and it really will wear your hand out if it's not sharp scissors, and it will take a long time. So you want to make sure you have a great pair of scissors. So the first thing we're going to do to get started is grab the end of our yarn and just start wrapping it around our fingers. Now they do sell tools and equipment that you can buy to make these pom-poms with, but I have found that it's so much easier and cheaper just to use your fingers and it works the exact same. Now you could also use maybe like your two fingers if you wanted the pom-pom to be smaller, or you could even use something like a fork, or you could use a small book to wrap around. You just need something to wrap around so that you are making these loops back and forth. And you just want to go back and forth until you've got this big wad on your fingers. And when you think you have a lot, still keep going because you want this to be a really thick pom-pom. So once you feel like you have enough wound up, we are going to carefully slide that off of our fingers and clip that off from the rest of the skein and carefully put it down onto the table. And then we want to clip off a longer piece of yarn, and we're going to lay that down, and then we're going to take our bundle and we're going to lay it on top of this piece of yarn. And we want to make sure that the open ends are on the outside. And then we're just going to tie this bundle up into a neat little package. And we want to make sure that we tie this really tightly so that once we start cutting this yarn, it will stay together and not fall apart. Also, you want to remember when you're tying this bundle to do your best to tie it directly down the middle so that you have two even lobes. That way, once you start cutting it, you will have more of a symmetrical pom-pom and it will be easier in the end. So the next step is just to start cutting our loops, and we want to make sure that we're doing it right down the middle, and you want to take care not to pull on those loops or else the yarn will pull from the other side and it will make it not symmetrical. So just want to be careful of that as we're cutting, and we're just going to go along both sides cutting the loops, and you'll probably miss a loop here and there, but you'll be able to find them. Once you start going, you'll be able to figure out the ones that you've missed, and it's definitely going to look like a hot mess when you're done. But that's what is really fun about it, because once you have all the loops cut, then we get to do the fun part, which is shaping our pom-pom in whatever shape that we want. I also want to let you know that those two pieces of yarn that we tied the bundle up with, we want to make sure not to cut those. In fact, I like to use those to hold on to the pom-pom so that I can easily shape it. And it's also what I use to tie it onto the package. So make sure that you do not clip those off. Okay, now moving on to the fun part, like I told you. Grab your scissors and just start cutting off the long pieces of the yarn that are sticking out and just begin to shape it. Now, my daughter did this over the weekend and she made it look like an oval because she didn't do the bottom and she didn't do the top. So just make sure that you go all the way around and continue to shape it into a ball. Now, also keep in mind, once you've cut it, it's cut. So if you want this to be a big pom-pom, try not to fuss with it too much. I think you can really feel like I need to cut more, and then you end up with this really small pom-pom. So just be careful as you're going, and remember, This is a homemade project, which means it's not going to be perfect. And that's what's so beautiful and what's so charming about a handmade product, is that it's not perfect. So don't worry if it's not perfect, just go for it and have fun doing it. Okay, so now we want to take this gift and wrap it. So I'm going to use some of this May Art ribbon. And also something else that I like to do is I'm just going to grab this is some fabric that I used for a project years ago, and I'm just going to cut off a piece of that. Like I did here, you can see that I did that here, and just add it, and it just adds a little bit of color. And if you can see this fabric, oh, I don't see it on my desk anymore, but this fabric that I used has teals in it and like light greens, and I mean, you wouldn't really associate that with Christmas, but I think it looks really pretty on this package, just adding a little bit of color. So that's what I want to do with this here. So I'm just going to cut off, a little strip, go all the way down, and I may or may not want all of that. I don't want it to fold up, that's for sure. And you can see that I'm obviously not measuring anything or making it like, I'm not using a rotary cutter to make it like even or straight or anything like that, because it's just going to go onto the gift. So I'll probably make it a little bit smaller because it's a smaller package. And then I'm just going to take my ribbon and I do just like to tie it from the spool because I never know how much I want. So let's pull this out. So I'm going to set this, so I'm just going to go to like I'm tying it. And this does take a little bit of practice to be able to do this without any help. I'm just going to use my finger to hold down where that is. And then I'm going to take the pom-pom. Let's fold this way. I'm going to take the pom-pom and put just one of the strings down. And again, I'm going to use, if you can see, I'm using my finger to hold all those in place. And then I'm just going to tie a bow. Now, if this is too hard to do on your own, I've done this long time. And it's okay if that falls because there's a string holding it down. I've been doing this a long time, so I've had a lot of practice. But I'm losing my pom-pom. Feel free to grab someone in your house to help you do it. All right, so then I'm just going to clip that off, move that aside. And then I'm just going to, I've got both my strings, so one of them's in there. I'm just going to kind of mess with it until I like that it looks all nice and pretty. So you want to take the string that you had through and then the other string that was left over, and you just want to tie a knot. So we're just going to tie it down. And to be honest with you, I don't have my tags ready yet. And so I would probably put my tag onto this and then make another tie. So I'm going to leave it right now. And I just want to cut this off. It's bugging me that it's folding like that. So I'm just going to leave these and I'll tie my tag on, and I'll probably I could even take this marker since I have it next to me, and I'll just write right here, like on this side, who this gift is for, so I know, because my tags aren't ready yet. My daughter wants to help me make them, so we're going to do that together this weekend. So what I would do is once my tag's off, I would just clip those right there so they look like they belong to the pom-pom. Or if you want, you could leave it down. It's totally up to you. Or what you could do is, if you have I have both of these ribbons right here. And in fact, I'll probably clip these off just like so. And then I'll probably take this and go through the bottom of the gift and then just make another little loop there, and I'll probably tie the tag on to this one. I think this is really pretty. It's got the gold going through it. And they also have one with silver. So there's so many options out there like that. So I hope you have fun doing your gifts, and If you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, you guys, and happy holidays.